It's been such a trying week for me. Um, I definitely think the reason, not the excuse, the reason is hormones. That contributes to it, but it's not an excuse at all. Still responsible to obey the Lord and have self control and be selfless and all of these things. So, even though it is so legit that that's the reason, it's not an excuse. So, I'm not trying to make excuses. But, it's just rough being a woman sometimes. I feel like the atmosphere of the home is so much in our power. And when you're not feeling good, it's hard to help everybody else feel good. So, I don't know. I feel like I could talk about all the things that have been hard for me this week, but, none of it really matters anymore because it's over. I totally feel myself today. Back to being me. It's so funny how, it's all me, but when you're like that, you don't feel like yourself. It's really weird. So anyway, today I'm back to normal, but still, there were some things that are really good, stuff that I got to think through this week and practice this week. And it's not like this every month. You all know, as women, every month is different, and some months are just harder than others. And this month, it was just hard. So I had to battle a lot of sinful thoughts and combat those thoughts with truth. I had to practice a lot of self-control, mainly not talking about the stuff I was feeling or thinking, because I know that I was being irrational and that it would bring no profit or good whatsoever. It would just be like, oh, never mind, 3 days later, now that I feel normal, I would be regretting that I ever talked. So just restraining my mouth and just a lot of realness, being humble enough to admit I am struggling. I need help from the Lord, from my husband, from anybody who can help me. And that's, it humbles you, which is good. So it's been a good week in those ways because I don't always have such a hard month. It was kind of unique. So anyway, but as far as parenting goes, it was really good because, I don't know, I guess like a week ago, I started thinking about why I'm frustrated as a mom. And the thing that just kept coming back to me was that I'm telling my kids or asking my kids to do things 20 times. Not 20. I'm going to use real numbers. 5, 6, 7 times before they're obeying me. And that naturally gets me very frustrated because what I would like is to be able to say, hey, we're leaving, everybody, let's go. And everybody get up and let's go. But, and I don't mind saying it twice, but I've gotten to the point where I'm not enforcing those things and I'm not training and I'm not disciplining. So I'm frustrated because I expect my kids to do what I expect them to do without doing anything to make sure that they're doing that. And so I'm kind of like making this happen myself. I'm training them. You don't have to obey the first 6 times, but the seventh means business. I don't want to train them like that. I want to train them that the first means business. You better obey me right now, So this week has been really good to just think about, what do I want? I want my kids, I want to say, boys, and whatever they're doing, yes, mama, for them to be like, ears perked up. That is my mama's voice. So I have been training in that way this week. And the way that I've been doing that is saying, hey, boys, and if they don't respond, I go to them. And I think this is why I've neglected training, because it's extremely time consuming and very, very physically involved. So I go to them. I look at them in their eyes. I say, boys, when mama calls you, when I say, hey boys, or when I call your name, I don't care what, I don't say I don't care. Whatever you're doing, you need to stop, you need to listen, and you need to look at me. And so let's practice right now. Ready? Go pretend like you're playing. And I'll walk away, and then I'll come down the hall and I'll say, hey boys. And they love it. It's like a game. But, you know, we do that like 2-3 times so that when next time that I really am calling them, they've practiced it, you know. And I've been doing this all week with how to speak to adults when they come to our house, how to come up to me and wait until I'm done talking to an adult without interrupting, how to walk into the room when we're having small group or Bible study, not just walk in yelling and talking already from the dining room all the way to the living room, how to, I don't know, not interrupt each other when we're all talking, to like take turns talking, because the little one will be telling a story, then the older one's like, oh, and it's like, that's rude, let's all, you know. So it's been really fun. Like, we've made a game out of it. And how to act when people come over our house, you know, like to say hello, to say goodbye, to thank them for coming, all of those things. And those are more like fun, but the ones that have been harder have been, you know, like, how are you supposed to say that? Let's try again. And a lot of times those become an argument, and then a need for discipline, because I'm not going to argue with my 5-year-old, you know? So that's been hard, because part of me is like, I should listen to him. I want him to feel heard and respected. And the other part of me is like, he feels heard and respected every other moment of the day. Right now, I'm asking you to do something and you need to do it. And if you don't do it, then you're going to deal with the consequences, you know? So it's really hard. But usually how that plays out is I'll say, you know, it's time to turn off the phone. We're done playing Angry Birds. Mommy said you had 20 minutes. 20 minutes are up. It's time to turn it off. And instead of, but mama, can I just finish this race? I want him to do it now, right now, you know? The beep went off. It's 20 minutes. That was the agreement. Do it. And so if he starts to talk, but mama, I'll say, listen, I will listen to whatever you want to tell me after you obey me. He'll turn it off. And then if he wants to talk to me and it's about playing again or whatever, I'll tell him no. But oftentimes what happens in the first part of the week, more than on the second part of the week, because we had to discipline enough in the first part of the week where he got the picture, he better just obey and be quiet. He'll like get frustrated, but I want to tell you something. And he'll get frustrated. And, you know, I just want them to understand, you can tell me whatever you want, but you need to obey me first. There was no, but mama, but, just do what I said. And so these are things that are not new in my desires. I've wanted this forever. I just somewhere along the way fell off the bandwagon in making sure that these things were what I was training my children to do. And I have found myself so frustrated with, we're leaving, guys, let's put our shoes on. And then I go to my room, I put my shoes on, I get my coat, and I look, and everybody's just flying planes in their room instead of putting their shoes on. And I'll tell them, I'm like, what did mommy ask you to do? And they know exactly what they were asked to do. They just haven't done it. So that kind of stuff happening every day, multiple times a day. On a good day, I have the patience, to ask them again, to ask with a smile, to not care, whatever. But on a bad day, that third or fourth time would make me go nuts. And I would get so angry. And I'm like, I don't want to be so angry. I want to be happy. I want to, just like be a cheerful mom and smile and not be aggravated or frustrated or irritated all day long. And so what needs to happen for me to feel that way? I need my children to obey me. And so that's when I recognized I have not been doing this. So we need to do this, So it's been really good. And thankfully, because we have been consistent from the beginning, I feel like everybody goes through these cycles. They just, drop the discipline and then they're like, well, we need to get back on that. Thankfully, because we've been consistent, the fruit is already evident. Like, it hasn't been a week of misery. It was like the first 2 days, they got in trouble a few times, and now they're doing their thing, as expected. But I can't fall behind. Like, I am on it. So it's been good. and interesting. And I just wanted to share that with you guys because I know I'm not alone in this. You know, I always say this, parenting is like a cycle. You are really hardcore about training and disciplining, and then they start doing really well. I wonder why. Hey, because you're being consistent in training and disciplining. But we think, oh, they got it. They got it. So we can just talk from now on. And then we just start talking to our kids instead of training them and disciplining them when necessary. And then before you know it, their behavior is awful and you need to get back hardcore training and disciplining. And then you go again. Oh, look, they got it. We can just talk to them. And it's like, no, talking is not enough. Not at 5, not at 6, you know? So it's just funny. Like, I've been on this cycle many times before. The hard part was the day I realized it. It was like heaping guilt and burden. And I was like over the top burdened. And then the next day it carried over a little bit, just like, so burdened. But by the third day, I was like, you know what? I'm not going to be able to do this perfect. My failures are to the glory of God. And it's good for the kids to see me fail. And it's good for the kids to see me repent. And it's good for the kids to see real life mistakes. You know, there's no way to be perfect. And they're going to sin and they're going to, you know, mess up because that's just life. And what happens? I'll correct them and move on, you know? And when I mess up, I'll repent and move on. So I hope this is encouraging to you moms out there that are trying to raise godly kids according to the Lord's commandments, to train them and to discipline them in the fear and admonition of the Lord, and to speak of the Lord throughout the day, and to smile at them, delight in them, rejoice in them, express to them the blessing that they are to your life. And that they would love you, or that they would know that they are loved, not because they do everything right and that they're not loved when they do everything wrong, but that they would know they are loved because they're yours. That's why we know we're loved by the Lord, because we're His. There's nothing we have done for Him to love us. He just loves us because we're His. I want my kids to know, I just love you because you are mine. I know they're not really mine, they're God's, but the Lord has entrusted you to me, and I love you because you're my little boys, not, you know, because you've done everything perfect today. And that is more encouraging than anything, I think, for a child. So let this be an encouragement to you, and have a wonderful day.